Dr. Scott Treadway here. How are you? I wanted to go over with you today and uh, actually show you how to read a food supplement label. Do the best I can to show you how to do this. Um, so if you're taking food supplements, you've seen bottles like this before, where you have a supplement facts box. It's on the side of the bottle. Let me see if I can show that to you. I don't know if that's probably too bright. Anyway, it's right there. And so it's usually on the right side. It could be on the left side. Normally on the right side. There's another bottle. Oh, they're all going to be shiny. I got to get another camera or something. All right. Oh, there's that. That shows a little bit better. But I can see it. Supplement facts. There you go. Yeah. So what that does is it lists all the ingredients that are on the that are inside of the bottle that the product is made from. And if you take food supplements like over 100 million Americans do every day, herbal supplements or multiple, whatever, it's good to know, what you're ingesting. I think that's really important for everyone. And it sounds like simple common sense, but many vitamins and herbal products contain synthetics, and they're unnatural ingredients. So unless you know what you're looking for on a label, you might ingest these synthetics and unnatural ingredients. And I would like you to be able to avoid that if you want to. So, if you don't care what kind of food supplements you take, then it doesn't matter. But reading the label will help you to make an informed choice. That's, I think, important. So if you want to know what's really in your food supplements, you need to read the label, read the supplement facts, and see if there's anything unnatural in there. Even if you think the product is natural and harmless, or if it's being presented that way, it's always better to read the label. I'm an inveterate label reader, so I like to read labels and know what's in the foods and the food supplements that I'm purchasing. Synthetic ingredients, as you may already know, are man-made, and these are chemical compounds that are manufactured the same as drugs are manufactured, and so therefore they're like drugs and they're generally toxic. They can produce side effects over long-term use, just like drugs do. I'm not anti-drug, and I'll tell you why later. It has to do with the fact that we need drugs for emergencies, but we don't want to take synthetic things into our body unless we have to. That's my recommendation. So the body's intelligent. It really doesn't like synthetic nutrients. If you put some in there, then it has to deal with them, but it deals with them as if they're toxins. And the body can tolerate a lot, but synthetics are toxic to one degree or another, and this can cause a body burden over time, or even right away. If you take something synthetic in the mornings, you can feel a stimulation from those synthetics, but it's really a drug stimulation. It's the same thing, coming from chemical reactions. So again, I'm not anti-drug, but I feel it's really necessary in emergencies, especially if you have drugs. I mean, if I have an auto accident or something, they put me in the hospital. I want the best drugs that are available. Give them all to me, whatever you have to do to make me feel better, to make me well, to get me over the emergency. But for daily consumption of like a multiple or a nutrient of any kind, why do you need synthetics? It's not necessary, and why do you want to cause your body a burden that it doesn't need, and get all your liver and your kidneys and everything involved in detoxification if you don't need that? It's just like a lot of other things, like vaccines and other things that we don't normally think of, that have a lot of synthetics in them that can actually harm us. Anyway, for a long time, I've been involved in preventive health for over 40 years, and I make or formulate and oversee the manufacturing of a lot of different food supplements. So I can tell you from my experience that it's good to be able to read a label and know what's inside of it. Before we get into specific information, I just want to let you know that there's three, I would call them three main categories of food supplements on the market, in the marketplace now, that are available to you. And the first one, we'll just call it number one, but it's kind of like a pyramid thing. And I'm going to talk about three different categories. So if you cut the top of the pyramid off, that's a little section there, and then the middle of the pyramid, and then the bottom. So just so you have something to relate to visually. But in fact, maybe there's something right here. Okay, so look at this. Yeah, let's put this up to the camera. You can see that. There we go. 1, 2, and 3. There. So anyway, the three categories. So food supplements that have only naturally occurring potencies. Very few out there. I will recommend one to you called Meta Organics, who sponsors me. I guess I ought to mention them at some point in the conversation. MetaOrganics.com, M-A-T-A organics.com. But anyway, naturally occurring potencies of vitamins, minerals, and herbal actives, that's one category. And when I say naturally occurring, I mean no synthetics. That's coming from natural sources like food extracts, food concentrates, herbal extracts and herbal concentrates, fruit and herbal and food. So it's coming from something naturally occurring, something that nature makes. You know, nature really has a lot more intelligence than we know. I mean, everything that we know, all of our scientific information is coming basically from nature, and we're not just making it up. I mean, there's some people that have great intuition and they cognize things, and they're able to understand nature just in a miraculous way. These geniuses in the past, Einstein and Tesla and these different people. But just in general, it's good to know that when something's naturally occurring, it's made by nature, and nature sort of has already developed all of the nutrients, everything that we need. The idea that we can make a synthetic, real food never happened, never will happen probably, because it's just too complex. I mean, a human intellect can't really transcend or go beyond the intellect of nature, which is like God's intellect. It just can't be done. So we can understand a lot of things, though. So I don't want to digress, but let me get back to this. Okay, so food supplements naturally occurring. So that's just a small part of this pyramid at the top, because there's very few companies that are doing this, following the naturally occurring standard, as I call it. And there's even something called the NOSG, which is the Naturally Occurring Standards Group, that certifies certain products, like the Meta Organics product, and that has, the labels have that logo stamped on there. So the second category is food supplements that have partial or naturally occurring potencies of vitamins, minerals, herbs, or other nutrients derived directly or from non-traditional foods or from synthetics, man-made compounds. When I say non-traditional foods, I mean things like algae or canola oil. I'm going to get some more videos going, because I know some people think those things are okay. I'll tell you why they're not. Anyway, in the second category, you have a combination of some things that are naturally occurring. It could be even organic. And then they're spiked with synthetics. Now, how do you know they're spiked with synthetics? We'll get to that a little bit. But it's kind of it's an indirect process where they call it a grow process, where they take yeast and or algae or something, and then they spike it with the synthetics, and then they tell you that this is okay because the plant source, which is the base of algae and or yeast, is absorbing these synthetics, these drugs that are toxic basically, and processing them through their metabolism, and then when that's dried out and so on, then you have a higher potency than you would normally have because of the spiking process. I don't believe that's true. I think what they're doing is they're giving you synthetics indirectly and not telling you, and that's the problem with the second category. It's sort of done on purpose that way so that you don't know that there's synthetics in that food supplement, and it can say on the label organic or natural or whatever they want to say. But if they're using this indirect method of spiking and putting in the synthetics, then is it natural? No, it's not. So they shouldn't say that. That's my opinion. Anyway, the third category is sort of the common category that you see in basically all the stores, grocery stores, any store, even convenience stores, or any kind of retail outlet, drug retail outlet that offers food supplements. And these are mostly all synthetic. They're about 100%. It's not even a little bit. It's a lot. So generally speaking, and some of them have other things, but this third category is mostly synthetics with a natural base. They might throw in something like alfalfa, and then they spike it completely with synthetics. But they don't try to hide the fact. Unlike the second category, they don't try to hide the fact that they're putting synthetics in there. In the third category, they just tell you outright, yeah, it's got synthetics in it. The reason I say they tell you is because on the label it's very obvious. Whereas in the second category, you have to really dig, and you have to know some things in order to understand that they're putting synthetics indirectly into your product, because of the labeling laws. They're allowed to get away with that. But anyway, I'm here to tell you the truth about supplements and about how to read a label, and how to read a food supplement label, mainly using the supplement facts box on the food supplement bottle. So, or packaging, whatever it is. These synthetic supplements, they're found in almost every mass market, grocery, convenience, like I said. So that's the pyramid. There you go. So that's all three. So we understand that part now, and we can go on and talk further about these categories just briefly, and then we'll get into some examples within each category of how to read the label. So there's some additional information on the label for the third category above, and hopefully this is going to help you out. So, or all the categories above, not just the third category, sorry. So category 1, the food supplements are naturally occurring from traditional foods and herbs. Traditional foods and herbs, not things that we would normally not eat, like canola seeds. We don't eat those. Anyway, these foods are naturally occurring from traditional foods and herbs, and they don't contain any synthetics. They don't contain GMOs. They don't have other potentially harmful ingredients. So this information should be indicated on the label, and it should say those things. Something similar like that should be on the label, and then you know that it's a naturally occurring source. For example, the label of the product on a naturally occurring source of vitamin C, which is real vitamin C, not this synthetic ascorbic acid that is not real. You could call that unreal vitamin. So what does that mean? If real vitamin C is real, And ascorbic acid is unreal vitamin C. Yeah, that's true. That is true. So for example, on the label of naturally occurring product, you see vitamin C would read something like this. Contains 25 milligrams of vitamin C from acerola cherries, or from amla berries, or from camu camu, or some source. Usually it's a fruit source of vitamin C. And then it'll tell you how many milligrams per dose. So if you take 3 capsules or 3 tablets, it should mention how many milligrams for that one serving is on there. For example, say it contains 25 milligrams of vitamin C from acerola or from amla, and it'll have that on there. It won't just refer to a matrix or refer to some synthetic source like ascorbic acid or sodium ascorbate. So that would be an example with a naturally occurring product. And if you don't see information like that on the label, then you can pretty much assume that this is not a category 1, it's a category 2 or a category 3 product. So that's just one example, the vitamin C, but there could be other things on there. Naturally occurring B vitamins from rice bran extract. But it has to say what the source is. It has to identify the specific source. It can't just say a matrix from yeast or something like that. That doesn't work. Okay, so then unlike category 1 supplements, category 2 supplements use our labeling laws actually to obscure the fact that they're adding synthetics to their products indirectly. Not directly, but indirectly. Category 3 is directly. They don't care if you know or not, because they don't. Not many people understand this distinction between naturally occurring and synthetic in food supplements. It's been going on. This problem has been going on for 70 years, over 70 years, almost as old as I am. And so it's been happening for a long time, and it's time the truth comes out now, and this is why I'm making this video. I want to make more videos like this to bring you the truth about food supplements and about how you can apply naturally occurring food supplements for any kind of health condition, and it'll work in my experience and in my practice when I was in practice. They do work as well as any kind of synthetic or even drug type product. So that's where we are today, and so why would you do something that's not naturally occurring? Yeah. Anyway, getting back to the food category. So to understand the food category 2 supplements, you have to look at the manufacturing process that they use. I mentioned something about it. Here's what I mean. Most consumers and even experts in the food supplement industry do not know that category 2 food supplements contain synthetics. They think they're natural and they're organic and everything, because that's often what they say on the label. So even the top people in the industry, and I'm supposed to be one of the top people in the sense of like consulting and making, I know about this, but what I'm saying is there aren't many people even in the top echelons of the industry, of the food supplement industry, that know about this and are willing to tell anybody. In fact, they're probably have signed something saying they won't tell anyone. Anyway, most category food supplements in category 2, they use some food ingredients, and even a majority could be really good ingredients. And really good meaning organic and GMO free, so on. But the problem is they add the synthetics to the products. They don't disclose the fact that they're adding these synthetics, man-made chemical compounds, into their product for their potency claims on their label, and the word synthetic is never used. So if they're getting this from another source, which what they do, they get it from a source. There's companies called such as the Grow Company that manufacture this. They use a base of yeast, as I said before, a base of yeast. They spike it with the synthetics, then they dry that out and use it as a potentized material, which they call then a food source or a food matrix or a food state or something. So you have to read the label really carefully. They're very tricky about it. And but like I said, if it doesn't, if the potency that they're claiming for the vitamin C or the vitamin B or whatever it is, whatever the nutrient is, if they don't specifically say it's from a particular herb, fruit, or a group of herbs or fruits or foods, and they don't spell it out right next to where they're making the claim for that amount of, say, vitamin C, for example. If they don't say it's from amla berries right there, and they just say it's from a matrix or it's from, a food state or source or something, then you know that it's most likely from this base of algae or yeast that's been spiked with the synthetics. So an example would be vitamin B1, thiamine, and you could see that on the label. That would be referring to a food source or a food base or something similar. That means it's probably synthetic. Yeah. So that's why you need to read the label on these category 2. The category 2 supplements are also, because they do use a lot of good ingredients, they tend to be more expensive than the category 3, which are just usually very inexpensive normally. Not always, but usually they are. And the category 3 supplements, which are the most widely distributed and utilized food supplements in USA and the world, these contain synthetic sources of nutrients normally. Not every one of them, but normally they do. And for example, if you purchase a category 3 type multiple vitamin food supplement, it'll list the synthetic vitamins it contains in the supplement facts, and it'll tell you, vitamin C, ascorbic acid, just say that on there, or sodium ascorbate, or something similar. And these are synthetic forms of vitamin C. You also see references to other synthetic nutrients such as vitamin B1, thiamine. You might see HCl, which what that means is it's a chemical hydrochloric acid form of the synthetic vitamins or nutrients, because when they make these synthetic vitamins like B1, thiamine, HCl, they're making it from coal tar and or another chemical-based source, which they use like building blocks, and so it's a chemical operation. And there's plants around the world that make these synthetic vitamins, and they just do it step by step. It's a step-by-step chemical process. Anyway, if you see something like that, then it's synthetic, and it could have a natural base in it. But most of them have some kind of natural base, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they'll just have the pure synthetic itself, and they'll be using a lot of different excipients, different things. That's another thing that we ought to get into. If you read on the label about excipients, meaning other ingredients that they use to manufacture, it's for the convenience of the manufacturer himself. So magnesium stearate, it's basically a synthesized ingredient. Even if they say it's natural from a vegetable source, but it has like hydrogenated oils and different ingredients in that stearic acid that they use, and it's really not good for you at all. It's synthetic. So in naturally occurring food supplements, you won't find those things like magnesium stearate and other excipients that are unnatural or synthetic. So that's another thing you can read on the label. Usually it's underneath the food supplements supplement facts box. It's right underneath there. It says other ingredients, and then it has some information for you, so you can read that as well. I really hope this has been useful to you. I hope this is helpful for you when you're out and about and you're buying your food supplements, and to read the label so that you know what's going on. And it's great talking to you. I hope we have a chance to talk a lot more. You can contact me at Meta Organics, my sponsor, which is metaorganics.com. And if you have any questions or so on, you can address them to me if you like. I'd like to start getting the truth out about food supplements, about supplements in general, and help people directly with their help. I've been sort of doing it indirectly by doing private label for different companies, and I've helped them do what I think is the right thing. And I don't really advertise the fact that we do that kind of work, but I've had my own practice for about 15 years, but that was almost 15 years ago. I've been in this business a little bit more than 40 years. But anyway, I'm very happy to have this chance to talk to you. I look forward to more opportunities to talk to you and explain how we can make you healthier and therefore happier, right? Everybody wants to be happy, and there's no chance to be happy if you're not healthy. You really need to be healthy as sort of a base for your happiness, and then you can pursue that happiness and achieve it. And so I wish you the best, and I thank you, and that's all for now. Talk to you later.